What's up, y'all? So in my last episode, I went over whether you should buy a road bike, mountain bike, road bike. And in this episode, I want to go and focus on if you are buying a road bike, because I think it's what 80 to 90% of the people out there will be buying. I want to go over whether you should be considering a aluminum frame or a carbon frame and what the benefits and cons are of each one. So like I mentioned, I bought my first bike a year and a half ago, and I inherited this bike 15 years ago from my father. And I knew going in to my bicycle shop that I wanted a road bike. There was no question. I didn't want a hybrid, I didn't want a mountain bike. I wanted specifically a road bike. Now when you're getting into road bikes, there's all different kinds. You got the endurance versus the racing bikes. That's for another episode too. But one of the biggest things that you need to consider and that they're going to ask you is whether you want an aluminum frame or a carbon frame. So to start off, the aluminum frame, they're going to be stronger. So if you're a noob cyclist, you know, you can go ahead and plan on falling off your bike at least a couple times. And with the aluminum frame, it's going to be less resistant to crack, dent, you know, just to damage in general. And not to mention that an aluminum frame also costs not significantly less, but a pretty good amount less than carbon frames. So when I went in looking for my bike, I want to say it was a good, I want to say $300 or $400 difference between the top end aluminum frame and the low end carbon frame. So the main benefits of an aluminum frame is that they cost less and they're more durable. As far as the cons of aluminum frame, which most noob cyclers won't notice at all, is that they're going to weigh a little bit more than carbon. In most cases, I should say. So that is one thing to consider, but you know, if you're not racing and counting, you know, milliseconds and, you know, 0.1 seconds, it's usually not a problem. But as far as the carbon on the other hand is going to cost a little bit more, like I said, and it's going to weigh less, but it's going to be a little more fragile. It's going to be a little more prone to cracking. You know, so if you fall off your bike as a noob, and if you got the money, go ahead and get the carbon. But plan on falling off your bike, and if your bike cracks and you got a carbon frame, know it was your own fucking fault. I'm sure you've been warned, and now you definitely have been warned if you're watching this video. Now for me, excuse me, I went ahead and got the carbon frame just because it was a few extra $100. You know, I had a few extra $100. I wanted to go all out on this bike because I never know when I'm going to buy my next bike. And I have actually fallen off my bike 3 times simply because of the clipless shoes. You know, I wasn't used to them and I couldn't get my foot out fast enough. So I would just kind of, I'd be riding my bike and all of a sudden I'd go bloop, I'd fall over. And I'd use my body to protect my bike. Not that I recommend that, but I wasn't going to, you know, crack a $2,000 bike. So would I recommend an aluminum or carbon? If you got the money, get the carbon. If you don't have the money, don't stress it, get the aluminum. You won't notice the difference. You'll still be out there cycling, and that's the biggest thing, is that you get out there on the bike. Don't worry, you know, having the best gears is nice, having the best frame is nice, but what's most important is that you get out there and get moving. Sure, you can ride your little beach bike where you got one gear and a little basket in the front with a little bell. That's cool. At least you're riding a bike. But strive to upgrade your bike. Strive to get the best. You know, I'm always saving money. I want to get a better bike than this now. I want to get a new mountain bike. Yeah, I'd like to have a cyclocross bike too. It all takes time. But the overall message here is, you know, you got the aluminum. It's stronger. It's cheaper. It's a little more heavy. And then you got the carbon. It's more expensive. It's a little more fragile. it's lighter weight. And that's the 3 things to take into consideration when you're looking at buying a new road bike and you're trying to decide whether you should get aluminum or carbon. So that'll do it. Let me know down below, do you ride a bike now? And if you do, is it aluminum or is it carbon? I can tell you right now that this mountain bike over here, it's a 15 years old, a Schwinn. It was one of the top of the line Schwinns when my dad purchased it. And I've had this thing fall off the back of a car rack going 70 miles down the highway. Not a single crack, not a single dent. The only thing that happened to this bike when it fell off the highway, fell off the car on the highway, was that the seat got scraped up and the handlebars bent out of place, which was no big deal. So that just goes to show you the power of aluminum. And if you're getting a lower end carbon frame like I did, it's one of the cheapest carbon frames, it's going to be a little thicker carbon. So it's not going to be, you know, paper thin carbon like you would get if you're buying a $5,000 bike or a $10,000 bike. This was only a $2,000 bike, so the carbon is going to be a little heavier duty. You know, it's not going to be as lightweight as the other, you know, racing professional carbon frames. So that's another thing to take into consideration. But let me know down below if you're already riding a bike, is it a carbon or is it aluminum? And if you have 2 bikes, one carbon, one aluminum, let me know if you could tell a difference between them besides just the weight. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and have a good day. Peace.